Hello, I'm Beth Joey and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. This is a channel where I paint my face, turn my camera on and talk about some books. It is officially the beginning of the 2023 year ahead sort of content, end of the year, new year, all that fun stuff. And I'm gonna start this off with my 2023 5-star predictions. These are the books that I think are going to get 5 stars from me for varying different reasons. These are the books that I need to read next year. I'm going to keep track of these. I've got my On the Hook to Read the Book series, which I'll link the playlist to down below and up above for you to go and check out. I need to read these books and I am so excited to read every single one of them because I think they're going to be 5 stars. First up, we are getting started with The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber, which is the sequel to Once Upon a Broken Heart, the sort of continuation of the Caraval series by this author. That was a very complicated way of saying that. I cannot wait to read this book because I loved Once Upon a Broken Heart, and this one I'm hoping is going to be just as good. As for what the series is about, it follows a rather naive girl by the name of Evie who, once she finds out that the love of her life is betrothed and ready to marry someone else, she makes a deal with the Prince of Hearts, Jax, who features in the Caraval series, to sort of stop this wedding from happening, only to realize that this deal had consequences larger than she could ever possibly imagine. These 3 kisses that she agreed to could potentially have more power over the world that she lives in than the people in it than she ever realized, and she realizes that maybe true love isn't worth sacrificing all of that. I loved this series. I love Jax. He's one of my favorite characters in the Caraval series. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion. I just thought he was spicy and fun, so I cannot wait to continue their story and hope to God that it turns into a romance between those two because I saw sparks fly. Next up, we've got a book that I actually don't know much about other than the fact that it was recommended to me because I love ACOTAR, and this book is kind of like ACOTAR, and that is A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Brigid Kemmerer. This is the beginning of a new series for me, which kind of defeats my series goal, which you'll see later, but I couldn't help but put this on my list because I got it from Yalk this year, and I've been wanting to read it ever since. I just haven't gotten around to it because I've been trying to massively decrease the number of series that are currently on my TBR ahead of next year. As for what this is about, it follows Prince Ren, the heir to Emberfall. He's cursed. He's forced to repeat the autumn of his 18th year over and over, and he can only be freed if a girl truly falls for him. So it's very Beauty and the Beast, and then after so many failures, his kingdom and its people are barely holding on. Then we've got Harper, whose life has never been easy, but she's learned to be tough enough to survive the streets of Washington, DC, which tells me urban fantasy. Love that. When she's sucked into Ren's world, nothing is as it seems. Powerful forces are standing against Emberfall, and it will take more than a broken curse to save it from utter ruin. Beauty and the Beast retelling, kind of like ACOTAR vibes. Love that. This is the second book. Next up, we got a book that I didn't even realize existed until I saw Megan over at Meg with Books talk about it, how it was mixed media and how there's this really interesting letter at the very front of the story, which is basically the publisher, Penguin, I think it is, denouncing this author and saying we're not gonna have any association with this and this story. It really thrusts you into the world. Holy shit, this feels like real life. As for the details of it, it says, in the early hours of Saturday, 17th of December 2011, Zoe Nolan, a 19-year-old Manchester University student, walked out of a party alone. She was never seen again. 7 years later, writer Evelyn Mitchell finds herself drawn into the mystery and begins piecing together what really happened back then. But where some versions of events make sense, others are troublingly inconsistent. That is a hard word to say. One thing is for sure, Zoe isn't the woman she was pretending to be, and she may be missing, presumed dead, but her story is only just beginning. I feel like this is the story where Joseph Knox, the author, sort of inserts himself into the narrative storytelling of the book. I'm excited for the mixed media. I reckon this is going to be 5 stars. And I reckon it's going to be something new and different that I probably haven't read before. Next up, of course, is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Obviously, I loved The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, so I have to read more from this author, and this is just the next book that I have. It follows a band, Daisy Jones and the Six, who are definitely at the height of success in the 1970s. Their sound defined an era. Their albums were on every turntable, coast to coast. Everybody was listening to their music until one day the band breaks up. It was the 12th of July, 1979, and Daisy Jones walked on stage barefoot at the Whiskey, and it all came crashing down. Everybody knows the story, but everybody remembers it a little bit differently. I feel like it's sort of interview style. I think there are other bits of mixed media and everything in here as well, which obviously I love. I think this is going to be a really interesting story about the inner workings of this band in the 70s. And lastly, we've got Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail, which is the sequel to Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. This is a series, but each of the books you can kind of read on their own. They do sort of flow along from each other in that the events of the previous book affect the character in this book. You can still read this on its own and not be too confused. As for what it's about, I'm just gonna read the blurb because I get really confused when trying to explain this book without giving spoilers for the previous book. So just know that this book, by its existence, spoils the previous book. So if you don't want the ending to the previous book spoiled, Don't listen to the next few minutes. It says, for Astrid Parker, failure is unacceptable. Ever since she broke up with her fiance a year ago, she's been focused on her career. So when she's asked to be the designer for the Everwood Inn's renovation to be featured on a hugely popular home makeover show, Astrid is thrilled. Not only will the project be the perfect distraction, but her perpetually displeased mother might finally give her a nod of approval. However, Astrid never planned on Jordan Everwood, lead carpenter for the renovation. Jordan is determined to preserve the history of her family's inn, particularly as the rest of her life is in shambles. When that determination turns into some light sabotage to ruffle Astrid's perfect little feathers, the showrunners ask them to play up the tension. But somewhere along the way, their dislike for each other evolves into something quite different. It's time for Astrid to decide if she's going to pursue the life that she's expected to lead or the one that she really wants. I loved Delilah Green Doesn't Care. I think I'm gonna love Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail, so this is the last book on this list. So these are my five-star predictions for 2023, all books that I'm super excited to get to. I cannot wait to update you guys at the end of next year to tell you what I thought about them, do my on the hook to read the book, tell you if I actually gave all of these 5 stars, but obviously you're gonna see them talked about throughout the year, depending on when I finally get around to reading each of these, fingers crossed. And that is the end of this video. Let me know down below if you have a 5-star predictions list yourself or what books are currently featuring on it. I would definitely be very interested to know, and I think you guys give the best recommendations. I mean, some of the books that I have absolutely loved have been recommendations for you guys. Please tell me what you're looking forward to next year. I will add it to my TBR, probably. I'm probably not gonna buy many books next year. I'm trying to sort of cut that back and save a bit of money as I plan for the wedding and everything like that, but come and chat to me in the comments down below. I love talking to you guys and I do my best to reply to every single comment. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do let me know by liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell all down below. It is a super easy way to help my channel grow, and I will see you lovely people in my next video with more New Year content. Bye!